friends get together so they can try things. You're invited to this podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
Hello and welcome to Now Try This, the podcast where two best friends get together every week to talk about their favorite things, and sometimes those favorite things come from you guys at home.
What's good, guys? I'm Nick. That's Marcus. Your boys. Yo. Marcus, what do you mean it comes from out there? That makes no sense. We're the podcast host. We challenge each other every week for movies and games and books and television shows. That's what we do. We challenge each other. What do you mean it comes from out there?
Well, sometimes, and by sometimes I mean exactly once a month, we reach out to our patrons and they submit challenges they want to see us try. So this month's winner was Rianne414, who submitted Bo Burnham's Inside.
Gosh, Marcus, $5 seems so much money to be part of a community.
You know what? It's not, okay? Because you don't even need to join at the $5 tier, okay?
What?
If you don't want to submit things and you just want to vote and be a part of the community, you can do that at the $1 tier, $1 a month for an entire year. That's $12. Okay.
Wow. That's less than a Big Mac large meal at McDonald's.
I do not know the cost of that, but I'm going to agree with you. At least in New York City it is. Because New York City prices are
about
expensive.
12 rolls of paper towels at the dollar store.
Hell yeah. Well, maybe something less, Nick, because that seems like a lot. That seems like you're getting a lot of bang for your
For
buck.
a year? Okay, I'm going to give you 12 rolls of paper towel, and that's for your year. Let's see how you do.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm a paper towel boy. I like the environment. I like the world. I try to take care. But I'm a paper towel boy. I use a lot of fucking paper.
You use a lot of paper
Marcus, hold on.
towels?
This is important, but I want to tell you. You know,
Okay.
I was at the store the other day, and I was trying to buy paper towel with my girlfriend, and she was like, "Which one do you usually buy?" And I said, "I actually love this paper towel." And she's like, "This one's twice as much as everything else." And I said, "I know." Marcus, when I know I'm doing well in life, I get the bougie Viva La Viva paper towel.
What's
because
Viva
it's
La
soft.
Viva?
It's paper towel. It's a roll of paper towel, but it's soft like cloth.
Oh, why don't you just use like a rag or something? Get more rags around the house.
Soft like cloth.
But rags are made of cloth.
Marcus, oh my God, we are here. We are Now Try This Cast.
Yes.
Guys, if you want to get at us, tell us your paper towel conundrums. Get at us at Now Try This Cast on all socials. Like Marcus said, join the Patreon, patreon.com/NowTryThisCast.
Oh.
And you can catch us every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/NowTryThisCast.
Hell yes,
Now.
you can. We have, man, the Patreon is a wonderful place. The voting gets crazy. This month, it was very close, surprisingly close, between Footloose and this episode, Bo Burnham's Inside.
Can I be honest? I had voted for Bo Burnham, and then I changed my vote to Footloose because
Nice.
I kind of wanted to do.
I also
I've
wanted
seen
to do
Footloose, and you
Footloose.
never do it.
I was excited for
Marcus.
Footloose.
Maybe someday maybe for Darren's birthday, I will challenge you to do Footloose.
Okay.
When's your birthday? Is it past?
April
It
28th.
passed.
It's coming around again. That's how birthdays work.
You know what? That is true, guys. And if all of that seems very arduous and you can't go to any of those places, the literal least you can do that's the most helpful for the pod is to go to Apple, iTunes, go to Now Try This, and leave us a 5-star review. Just like Rank Inc. did, 5 stars. Review, 5-star. That's how easy it is, guys.
Hell
That's what Rank Inc.
yeah.
did. That's all you got to do.
It's that easy to leave a 5-star review. That's impressive. That's very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it takes almost no effort.
Almost no effort at all. Guys, Dash942 in the chat said, you gave me Moulin Rouge for my birthday. And I say, yes, this is, you want to come on over, tell us when your birthday is, and we'll dedicate the show to you.
Hell
this
yeah.
week is dedicated to, let's see, one of my students of my chess lessons. He's turning 5 in 2 weeks. This is dedicated to him.
Awesome.
I'm not going to say his name. That seems weird.
That does seem weird. Don't do that.
Marcus,
yes,
how are
that's
you?
me.
Before we get into this wonderful episode of Bo Burnham, Inside. That is a Patreon exclusive. It's not exclusive. Someday maybe we'll make them exclusive. Guys, if you want exclusive episodes, let us know. We'll do more. We'll do more. You got to let us know. Go to Patreon. Let us know what you want us to do. Before that, Marcus, tell me what's your week's like. What's going on? Have you tried anything new?
Wow, have I tried anything new? Nick, I have tried something new. I am continuing my journey through the podcast community and appearing on other podcasts. Nick, this week I was on a podcast called What Are We Talking About? Talkin', no G, because they're cool like that, where two buds get together and they just talk about whatever they want to talk about, whatever's on their mind.
Oh my God. Honestly, did you start podcast beefs? Because it sounds like they're coming on our turf. Did we start a beef with this podcast?
No. They don't really like have topics like us. They just, talk about whatever they want to talk about for whatever episode.
Oh, gotcha.
We talked about Human Centipede 2. We talked about
great cinematic masterpiece.
A gross backpack that he showed me. We talked about those water wiggles that you like. Remember those like water snake things? Those toys that were like slippery and you could hold them in your hand.
Describe them in more detail for me.
They're they're a cylindrical gooey toy that you can grab and squeeze and they slide right out of your hand. Usually the weird kid in school brought them.
Oh, is it the one that it loops back in itself is why?
I don't know if it loops back in itself. It's like a little pouch size, like this big. And you just like squeeze it and it goes...
I have no idea what this is.
Well, a teacher in school took it away from one of their students because they thought it was a sex toy and they accused the kids of it being a sex toy. So we talked about that for a while because that was weird.
Sure. I get that. I mean, I've never gotten anything taken away from me because I was a good kid and I followed the rules.
Brienne414 in the chat says, that toy taught me how to give hand jobs, which is... helpful. Very
I was
going
to say something inappropriate that was rude to sex workers, but I'm not going to say it.
Okay, well, that's what I did. That was new. Shout out to those guys.
That's how insensitive jokes work, right? You're in the clear as long as you say, I shouldn't say this insensitive joke.
As long as you don't say the joke, but you acknowledge that you were going to say the joke, and then you grow as a person. Very self-referential.
Self-actualization, just like Bo Burnham.
Bo Burnham's inside.
Like Bo Burnham in his song. Hold on. In his song.
All of them. Just
in
all
his
of
song.
them.
Problematic. That looks like a workout video. Hold me accountable. I got 4 pages of notes, Marcus. I'm fucking ready.
I'm ready to go.
4 pages.
Nick, have you tried anything
notes.
new?
Look at these beautiful notes. Look at these. 4 pages. Marcus, besides watching Bo Burnham's Inside, yesterday I went to Disney Trivia Night.
Wow.
At the Bell House here in Brooklyn. Shout out to them one time. Guys, if you want me to come back, sponsor the episode. Guys, get into the Bell House's Twitter and tell them now try this. Cast try them out. And they need the Bell House, like a ding ding
Bell
ding
House.
ding ding.
Oh, that's
ding,
like a popular
ding,
place. They do podcast
place.
stuff there.
Yeah, maybe we'll go there someday. But I did Disney Trivia and I thought, listen, I'm okay at Disney. I'm pretty good at trivia.
Hell yeah.
There was a couple teams there that were full on, had their mouse ears, and one of the teams missed one question all night long.
That's crazy. Disney is one of those things that people are absolutely insane about, and there's no way that you will ever beat them in knowledge or trivia.
There were maybe 20 teams there. We were maybe like 5th from last, and we got 48 out of 60 questions right. Like, that's pretty good. Like, we did pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
48 out of 50?
60.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Disney,
that's pretty good.
Disney is one of those amazing things where I feel like people have such love and such fondness, but it's an evil capitalist corporation.
Yeah.
That is
I mean, honestly, maybe you'll know some of these questions. Do you want to hear a couple of the questions?
Yeah, hit me up.
What is the name of the raccoon that steals John Smith's biscuits?
Raccoon. But with 5 A's is what it's called.
No, it's Miko.
Oh, I knew that.
There was also a great part where there was a guest there and he sang 10 snippets of songs and we had to guess the song title and the movie it was from, and he actually crushed it. It was really fun.
What a New York City thing to do.
Yeah, it was really good.
There's an actor in every corner ready to sing a song.
There sure are. One of them, we looked at Disney princesses' feet and we had to guess who they belong to.
Oh.
Yeah. Can you name the 7 dwarves, Marcus?
Sleepy, grumpy, bashful, horny. The one that is just there for the rest of them to have sex with. Sex doll might be his name.
Sure. And there's the one that's on the spectrum and they call him Dopey. Very inappropriate.
Why are you saying is he on the spectrum? He's just maybe.
I'm just saying there's something is something's up, and they just call him Dopey and call it a day. This seems inappropriate. That's all I'm saying.
I can't name them.
Yeah.
Did you get
I
that
think
one?
you just missed. Yeah. It's Doc, Happy, Grumpy, Sleepy, Sneezy, Grumpy, and Bashful.
The 7 deadly sins. I got it.
Yes. There's a whole bunch of questions like that. We did okay. But Marcus,
cool. Yes.
that's enough about our lives because
Mhm.
that's not what people hear about. People don't give
No.
a shit about
People
Nick and
are
Marcus.
here to
People
hear
don't
about
care
Bo
about
Burnham.
Yes, they came here for a journalistic approach and dissection of Netflix's newest comedy special, Inside by Bo Burnham. Marcus, what the fuck is Bo Burnham's Inside?
Hold on, I'm gonna put on glasses so I can see more intelligent. Also,
Do you have fake glasses? Oh, you have tinted. Oh.
I am
yes.
now 20% more intelligent and 30% less able to see. Bo Burnham's Inside is a comedy special, I say with air quotes, that was on Netflix and aired in 2021 towards the end of the pandemic.
Yes.
That's it. It was recorded. I can read here. I'll read some of the Wikipedia. Recorded in his home during COVID-19 pandemic without a crew or audience. It was released on Netflix on May 30th, 2021. It features a variety of songs and sketches about his day-to-day life indoors. He depicts his deteriorating mental health and explores themes of performativity and his relationship to his audience. Other songs are about internet activities, including calling one's mother on FaceTime, taking photos for Instagram, and video game streaming.
Marcus, that was a great reading of Wikipedia.
Hold
and
on,
it's
there's
not
more.
even smarter because you're
There's more. There's more. Hold on.
Okay.
It follows his previous special, Make Happy, in 2016, a recording of a stand-up tour. Okay, I'm done. That was
Marcus, what is your relationship with Bo Burnham?
Nick. I
before
love
this
Bo Burnham.
special?
I wanted to. I thought about giving this to you, but I didn't because I was concerned about talking about my mental health and its fragile state on Twitch for too long and what it means to me that this special came out. So I decided not to give it to you, but Patreon said, no, Marcus. I am the capitalist monster, and if I give you money, you must perform, you silly monkey. And so we are doing it now because you guys wanted it. And I love Bo Burnham. I feel like he is in touch with the world in a way that takes a lot of intelligence and talent and empathy and sympathy for someone. So we'll get into it more later. But Nick,
was your first Bo Burnham experience words?
My first Bo Burnham experience was his YouTube videos.
See, I did not know about him until his comedy special.
Oh, really?
His Comedy Central special, words. I did not see any of his YouTube videos. I was not lurker of the internet.
If I remember, he had a Captain Crunch song or something like that when he was a kid, and I watched that one a lot. It was something to do with the cereal companies all have in a meeting or something. It's so long ago, I don't remember. But I listened to that song a lot because I was really into comedy songs, and I've always been into comedy songs. Love Bo Burnham, love Stephen Lynch. I love all the comedy songs that are on TikTok right now, even though they're only a minute long. But still, it's a fun platform for it.
Yeah, totally. Honestly, I don't know if I really experienced comedy songs in this way until Bo Burnham. But so I remember seeing this in college, and I remember early on in our friendship we connected because we both had seen it and we liked it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It was one of the early foundations of our friendship. So honestly, it's kind of cool to come here full circle here.
You didn't grow up on Weird Al Yankovic and those guys?
No.
You didn't have any of that? I liked Weird Al Yankovic a lot. Oh, you gifted a sub to one viewer.
Oh, yes.
Woo!
We here at Now Try This Cast is generous. We just gifted a sub to one of our watchers here on Twitch. Now, guys, if you want to follow us and subscribe on Twitch, you can. And if you have Amazon Prime, hook up your account. You got to do it every month, but it's free and it helps out the pod. So, guys, go ahead as you're watching right now. Connect your Amazon, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out greatly. Okay,
but
Marcus.
I was going to say that I talked to
please.
No, I'm going to continue my point, but I love Weird Al Yankovic a lot, and he's inspired generations of musical comedy and Ninja Sex Party and all, and just everything musical comedy I'm here for, and I fucking love.
Then there's this special.
This special is, I'm not going to call it a comedy special. I'm not going to acknowledge it as a comedy special because sure, it is a comedy special, but it is more apt to call it a one-man show because that's what this fucking shit is. It's a glorious one-man show that I spent a lot of it on the verge of tears, wanting to cry, but also anytime my emotions rose to a peak, there was comedic relief and made me happy. And I never cried fully during the special, but I was close the whole time.
Little context for this special. Bo Burnham has made many specials, some exclusively on Netflix, but about 5 years ago, he stopped performing. He stopped performing live, and he said during his last special, he was having panic attacks on stage, and it wasn't healthy, and he stopped doing stand-up. He stopped doing live shows. He went and wrote and directed 8th Grade. He starred in A Promising Young Woman. He did other things, but he said he needed to focus on his mental health. And then during this pandemic, when everyone was locked up, he was also locked up, and he made the special. This special says he took over a year to make, and he made it completely by himself. He wrote it, directed it. He probably ordered all this stuff off of Amazon, got it sent to that little house in the back of his big house, and he stayed there, and he did all of this from scratch.
And he talks about it in the beginning of the episode that he was like, oh yes, I decided, you know what, I got help. I decided to get therapy and work on myself. And then all of a sudden the pandemic happened and I was stuck inside having to create this special.
Which is so relatable, because I feel like most people with mental health issues are on a constant pendulum, right? We're always on the verge one way or on the verge the other. It always feels like, at least this is how I always feel. I always feel like I'm either on the brink of everything falling apart, or I'm on the cusp of good things, right? It never feels completely good. It never feels you're never cured of your mental issues. So it always feels kind of like you're on the precipice. So that feeling of being on the precipice and then the pandemic happening, it happened for so many people. I mean, you know, when you're working through stuff, it's constant work, it's constant struggle, and it's always constant of this next one, after this, next week, next month, next year. Next year is going to be my year. Yeah, next year I'm going to focus on this. Next year. So I can't imagine how many people, because myself is included in that, in towards 2020, we were sitting there and it was like, okay, this is going to be it. This is going to be what's happening. And then the world shuts down.
But I feel like Bo Burnham, in a way that it is relatable, that we all got stuck inside and we had to figure out what we're going to do and course correct our entire existence.
Yeah.
A lot of people made the most of it too. And I feel like Bo Burnham is one of those people that definitely had the opportunity to sit down and really, unfortunately or fortunately for us, sit and reflect and look at himself and figure out who he was as a person and what everything means to him and what's going on in the world, right?
It's so interesting, yeah, because what you just said I think is super true. I don't know if it's most people, I don't know like the statistics, but I do know that when you do look at the statistics of people who faced unemployment during the pandemic, and now a lot of markets are having trouble bringing people back to work. And the right wing would have you believe that people are lazy and just want to collect checks. But when you look at the statistics, there are states that took away the extra unemployment and their problems didn't get better. That's because with a year, all these people, for the first time in their lives, most of them got the chance to reflect, right?
Yeah.
We got a chance to reflect on who we were, what was important, how we wanted to spend our time.
Yeah.
And Bo Burnham is the same way, and he decided to spend his time making us laugh.
And you also, I feel like, you know, we could talk about ourselves for a quick second during the pandemic.
You can talk about me, please.
You could talk about you. But I was gonna say, you lost weight, man. You put an effort, you quit your job, you changed your life. Your job was putting you in harm's way, and you made a change. And that was incredibly hard to do, because Bo Burnham talks about it in this special, that waking up and deciding to put on your shoes and get dressed during the pandemic was a hard thing to fucking do.
Yeah.
Especially
I related
when
to
you have
that.
Depression.
I related to that so much. I lost 80 pounds over the pandemic. I completely changed my lifestyle and my life, learned how to cook, quit my job, realized that I need to perform it now. And here, first time saying it on the podcast, I just had an audition and I landed it. Your boy's going to be performing off Broadway. Improv. I'm going to be doing comedy off Broadway. It's so like if the pandemic didn't, thank you. If the pandemic didn't happen, if I didn't have this time to reflect on what was going on, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be healthy. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be performing again. I wouldn't be doing those things. So you're completely right. And it's funny that you said the pants thing, because one of the ways that I kept my mental acuity during the pandemic was I gave myself small victories every day during the pandemic. I was one of the few people. I put on jeans and or pants every single day.
Yeah.
I didn't walk around in shorts. I did not walk around in sweats. I was like, I need to wake up. I need to shower. I need to put on pants and start my day.
Hell
And
yeah.
I took it as a chance to
Yeah.
like just completely change everything. What about you? How were you doing before, during, and after? Now you don't have to get into depth about what your mental illnesses are or how it affected you,
Oh.
but you can. But I do want to know like how you were before, during, and after.
Sure.
Before we get into what the special is, because that's what the special is, right?
100%. Yeah. The special
Yeah.
is talking about these things and reflecting yourself and reflecting on your own mental health. And it's about Bo
Reflecting,
Burnham
yeah.
specifically, but also the ways in which he is a relatable person. And so as someone who has dealt with mental health issues my whole life, the pandemic wasn't that bad for me. Like, I
Yeah.
feel incredibly lucky. I really had more freedom than I've ever had because I feel like I'm stuck in this corporate chain and I'm having to go to work and do this and spend so much time and energy on projects that I honestly don't give two shits about. And when I was working from home, I got to relax and I got to spend time with my girlfriend, who I was happy to be spending time with, and watch TV while I'm working and cook more. And I would go on runs on my lunch break because I'm at home and I can change quickly and shower. And I trained for a marathon and ran that marathon and did really well. And I just so many things worked out for me.
Just to put you on blast about it.
Sure.
Like I was in a bad place and the pandemic let me go into a good place. You were in a good place when the pandemic started because the work you had done the 2 or 3 years before that. Marcus, you also lost an incredible amount of weight. You changed your life. You added at least 2 decades to your life. You have done, seriously, you have done that. You went to therapy. You started working on your issues. You self-reflected and said, I'm not happy and I would like to be. And you started to do the work. And that's what the special is about, right? Like that's what the pandemic like was able to turn the face. And for people like you who were doing the work, you should be so fucking proud because Marcus, how could you have handled the pandemic 5 years ago?
Oh no, I would have killed myself 100%.
I'm not laughing because I know you're serious.
Yeah. I am serious.
Yeah, and that's because of the work you fucking did.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
But that's the thing too, because I feel like the pandemic was so hard on everyone, but in such a way that is relatable, and it varied so greatly. But it's this shared trauma that we all have now because we've all had to kind of deal with a major life change.
It has now defined us 100%.
And I think that shared experience that we all have is what makes this comedy special so good, right? Because it's this thing that people are having a hard time talking about and discussing. Comedians aren't all joking about it in a way that is entertaining right now. People want to ignore it. People want to forget about it. People don't know how to handle it.
Most people can't figure it out. They're trying, but they can't figure it out.
Most people can't figure out how to navigate a conversation regarding COVID and quarantine and all that stuff, especially since there's so much like political shit around it too.
I feel like the only person I've seen even do it remotely well is Chappelle did it a little bit when he was like he had that whole diatribe for 5 minutes where he wasn't even fucking trying to be funny, and he wasn't really funny. He was just talking about it. Did you see that?
I didn't.
He was like he was at a live comedy show, and it was a comedy show, and he was just like, look, I'm just going to talk for like a couple minutes. And he talked about what was going on. And it was just like super like, it was like this, right? Like I would totally put Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's one of the best comedians ever. Maybe the best that's currently alive. I'm not saying Bo Burnham and him are the same, but I am saying they both have that thing of self-actualization about their comedy, right? Like they know what it means. They know their purpose in it. And they know, like Bo Burnham, he made the special because he needed it. And he needed to share it. And like that's what art is. So it's just, I don't know. It's just super interesting. So
no, I agree 100% because it's this performance is artistic, right? In order to be a good comedian, you need to be able to empathize and understand what your audience is going through and tap into that, right? That's what makes Bo Burnham a good creator. Because he's able to see himself, talk about himself, and then also create a connection with the audience. And so by doing that, that's why he is great at comedy, and that's also why he's just a great creator in general. Remember the movie 8th Grade? We talked about that in another episode, right?
Yeah, we did.
It
Yeah.
was so cringy.
Wild.
It's so many moments, and it just made you feel for the characters because Bo Burnham is someone who understands the human condition and what it means to
Mhm.
be a person in society today.
Yeah. So there's so much to talk about. We could talk about just the existentialness of this all
Mhm.
night, but there's so many specifics that I feel like we need to get to because they're
Yes.
so
You're right. You're right.
interesting that we definitely need to get into it. So the whole thing is almost a commentary on his last special, right? The one where
Mhm.
he was having panic attacks of Make Happy, because the opening of this special, and I'm sure you noticed, it's that same room. It's that same.
Yes.
I kind of have a feeling it's like his house behind his house. Like it's like his little
It's like
studio.
a shed or studio for his.
Kind of, yeah. I think
makes
it's a studio.
sense.
He probably goes there. That's what it seems like by like context clues, because he doesn't rent out just the studio. He has a lot more money than we do. He makes too many
was
jokes
wondering-
about giving away his money to not have money.
I know. I was wondering what the space was because I was curious if he filmed it by himself and did everything by
Yeah.
himself. Then what is this house? It's not his house that he lives in.
I think it is. I feel like it's his house behind his house, like it's his
Mm.
guest house or something. You know.
Okay.
But anyway, he starts off with his intro song, and he starts. Honestly, the first song right away, the intro song, it like sets you up for exactly what this thing's gonna be. Because the first, it's Content is the name of the song, and he
Yep.
does that great thing where he's just like sitting there in a chair where you see all the lights and everything. So it establishes you are gonna see the backbone of this. You are gonna see the you are going to see how he is making this, right?
Yes.
And it sets it up right away, and he has this weird thing on his head, and you're like, what is this? And then the fucking disco ball thing. And I'm like,
Yes.
Bo, you already showed me like you're more of a genius than I would ever be, and this just started. Like,
It's scary how much of a genius Bo Burnham is, and I am alarmed by it that someone can be so self-aware and so talented in so many different ways. I mean, if you look at this piece of work, its cinematography is incredible, and the way that he uses lighting design and the way that he uses certain shots and angles, he's pulling from like crafts that require years and years of study and work and mastering all of them, or at least presenting them in a way that they are like masterfully shot and done, and it's awesome. You know, it's great to see such great lighting design, editings. Just every single piece of this is done with
the thing
such
took a year, right?
craft.
You know,
I can't believe he did that.
He you could tell he's studied, and he he didn't nail that disco ball thing on the first try, right? Like he thought of that, or he had an idea, and he, it's funny because I feel like you're the same, where you always have these like funny ideas about things to do, and you're like, I'll try that sometime, and you can't, but you don't have time, right?
No,
well, he had the
100%.
time. He had the time to figure out like how a lighting cue worked and how to listen to himself and how to like. But you're right, the lighting design specifically, especially you who have come from a lighting design background, like you have designed lights for shows, like you get it more than the layman, and I kind of appreciate it. But like the things going on lighting wise, again, we could talk for days because
it's crazy.
He sets up motifs,
it's talent,
reoccurring jokes. He sets up like so many things just with the lights.
Every part of it is so fucking well thought out, right? I was rewatching it, and Darren pointed out that on the AC, the only time it's on during the whole show is during one scene, and it's on 69 degrees, like just as an extra little joke. Right? It's just so many things are just so thought out. And I noticed that in the beginning of the special, there's a split second where you see his Twitch guy. It's in the first like 5 minutes of it.
There's an hour and 13 minutes and 41 seconds left in the special. I wrote it down. I saw.
Oh no! In the beginning, it happened in the first 5 minutes of the special.
Oh, in the beginning?
Yeah.
Oh shit! It happened again at 1:31.
Oh really?
Wow.
Yeah. No, it happens early on in the special. In like one of the first few moments, it's like on for a single frame, and it's like what. That's another thing to analyze and dig deep into. Like, what is he trying to say by that? Why is he saying that these are the moments that are controlled by this other character that he's created?
Yeah.
It's so deep. It's just so deep for so many reasons. Every fucking part of it is just so fucking good. And it makes me angry because this is going to exist forever in my brain as one of the greatest pieces of fucking content ever made.
Speaking of content, at the same time of doing all of those things and having an existential crisis, having like mental acuity and gymnastics, it's also got like silly songs, right?
Yeah,
His first
100%.
song, his first real song, Comedy, is like a meta commentary of whether he should even be doing comedy right now.
Yeah.
Is comedy over? Can you leave the world better? He literally
Yeah.
says like, should I be joking at a time like this, right?
Because that's oh my God, fucking guy. Fucking genius, Bo Burnham, motherfucking piece of shit. Hate that guy. Love him. He's beautiful and talented. But like, this is exactly the thing I'm talking about. He is saying thoughts that we've all fucking had, which seems like something every comedian should be able to do, but they fucking don't. How many times am I watching a comedy special? I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't give a shit about that. But he's captured.
So I was at my mother-in-law's house.
What's the deal with peanuts? Like, fuck no, fuck you, man. That's not comedy anymore. This is fucking comedy. But they make a good point. They're making good points in the chat that it perfectly captures 2020 in a way that I don't think anything else will.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
They're going to study this in school, in classes, and they're going to talk about this for years.
And it's self-aware. I think that's the self-awareness is Bo Burnham's bit, right? Like that's always been his bit. He's like, he literally during one of his specials is like, hey, so I appreciate this and this is crazy that I get to do this. All right, I'm gonna go back into my persona. Okay.
Yeah.
He's like in on the joke. Like, you know,
But I was gonna say, oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's something that I feel like I can relate to a lot, and I don't know if you're the same way. But when you are at just your ATL, which doesn't stand for Atlanta, is the joke that he makes. But when you are at all-time low mentally, and your mental health is just frayed and fragile, and it feels like you're gonna go crazy because you just don't know what's gonna happen next, and you feel like killing yourself, and you just fucking, I don't know, you've had it with the world.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like that's when I'm my most creative, and when I'm my funniest, and when I'm at my best, you know? And I feel like I see that in this. I see that he's genuinely going through it, but then it's also that like pain and that this suffering and anguish that pushes him to be better.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, right? Because that could not be the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he could have made this when he was at his sharpest and best. That's the thing about this that I kind of wish there was more dialogue about, because you know, he hasn't really talked about it too much, right?
No.
Like this special could 100% be, we saw all of it. We saw him making the things. But Bo Burnham's a genius. He could have spent 6 months writing out a script for every single beat in this thing before he even filmed the goddamn thing. Every BTS moment, every accidental camera fall, that could 100% be 100% on purpose. Or it could 100% us be seeing his anguish at the moment. Like halfway through the film, he turns 30. He is sitting there in the middle of the room with an alarm clock, counting down the last 2 minutes of his 29th year. Marcus, is that his 29th year? Did he film that?
I don't think so.
Later, or is it real? Did he really film it? I don't know. That's the thing, though.
I agree.
Would do that.
He would do that, and I don't judging, but looking at everything else and analyzing it. He is so careful with what he chooses to show and how he chooses to show it, that I do think everything is planned to a T. And that's how people with really bad anxiety work. I need things planned out. I need to kind of have set times for things, because it stresses me out when I don't have some kind of structure and know how everything's going to go beforehand. So I imagine that he's similar in that way.
Sure. But also at the same time, there's a moment, maybe 3/4 of the way through, where he's talking about whether or not he's going to finish it. And he is in front of the clouds with his hoodie up, and he's like trying to get out the words, and it takes him a couple times. Is that real? Or there's a time during one of the songs which I really related to, where he started the song and he messed up really early on, and he said, fuck, okay. And he just started again. Marcus, that's how I do my takes at home. I do that all the time. I'm like really hard on myself, and I'm sitting there like, all right, Honda Civics are fuck. All right, Honda Civics are coming your way next. Fuck. Honda Civics are coming. You know? Did he plan that, or is that real? We'll never know. But
We
it's
don't
also
know.
not the important
But
part,
also,
right?
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it
Yeah.
also doesn't matter because if it was planned, that makes more sense than if it wasn't planned because he's a comedy genius. He could have decided to leave things in, right? Like in the end, he's the one editing it, he's the one figuring it out. So
Yeah.
he still made an artistic choice to leave
Yeah.
that stuff in and show us whatever he decides to show us.
Oh, but also Dash 9442 just set a beat that I think actually emphasizes the fact that this is kind of organic, where him being freshly shaved, saying, "Oh, this is the last song, it's not done yet," and then immediately cutting to singing that same song fully bearded.
Mhm.
I think he really might have filmed that. Might have been footage of him filming the final song near the beginning, because that's how writers
Yeah.
think, they write at the end, and that just happened to be his, like, because if you look at that thing, it's so, I mean, he could have done this on purpose, but it looks so simple compared to everything
Yeah.
else lighting wise.
Yeah.
That really could have been a first rough cut take, and then he turned it into art by dubbing over it with him fully bearded at the end of this whole experience, and you see the juxtaposition. Some of it, I think it's probably 50-50. I think that was real. I think some of it was real.
I
think
would
some of
say
super,
it's
super
like
fake.
90-10, maybe. I do think he just seems so careful with everything that everything seems planned. But I think you're right about that point. I think that like that part and parts like that, maybe he had certain things planned. In the end, didn't have the whole thing planned, but finished
Get
it
an
up
idea.
and put it together in a way that was like perfect. You know, like in the beginning when he's sitting talking at himself in the mirror and he's like, "Oh, this is my room. This is where I'm filming it." And
I'm
then he
about
cuts
to embark on this endeavor,
and he like
filming
cuts
for a year.
himself off. That could have been, I get what you're saying, where that could have been planned and that could have also not been planned.
Yeah, totally. So I hate to do. We will talk more about the special in and of itself, but I would hate to do a disservice to some of these really funny songs.
Uh-huh.
So the first, like, I think, like, real, like, funny songs, and it's weird because the comedy special is super didactic in its ability to be super self-referential and meta, but then kind of Bo Burnham will still go into his normal comedy songs. Like his first song that could be anywhere, he could have just released it as a music video or been in a special, is FaceTime with My Mom. Yes, it totally has to do with the pandemic and this inside of it, but that also could totally stand on its own. And it was honestly, again, a genius song. As soon as the song started, the aspect ratio changed to a FaceTime screen on a phone, and he sang a song about FaceTiming with his mom, and it's so fucking relatable, like you said. Like, how is he saying the thing they were all thinking? You know, Marcus, how many times did you call your mom during the pandemic?
100%. Called her like twice during the 1.5-year pandemic. She was doing great both times. Just kidding.
I also didn't talk to my mom that much. I was too anxious about it.
No,
you know?
it was hard. I feel like my family also doesn't talk a lot, but we did hang out. We did see each other. You know, I got proper mom time during the pandemic. But it is another relatable song. It's something that we all have had to go through. The million Zoom calls. He didn't talk about. I also will appreciate this, that he didn't overstep his bounds. As comedians, I feel like people tend to talk about things that they know are in the zeitgeist and know are popular but can't relate to, right? Like if you try to tell me that a millionaire fucking comedian is going to talk about like what it's like to go to the office every day, it's disingenuous. You're fucking lying to me. You don't have that experience, right? So
does
for
the
Bo
millionaire
Burnham,
FaceTime his mom?
Yeah, so exactly. So for Bo Burnham to come out with this song about how terrible Zoom meetings are doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But for him to talk about FaceTiming his mom, great, cool. That's relatable. We've all done that, and it hits the same point without seeming disingenuous.
Yeah, and at the same time, I don't think he's going off of his points of being self-referential and meta, because he's literally, the lyrics of the song are wasting time FaceTiming with my mom. And I remember sitting there during the pandemic needing to waste time, needing to not watch another TV show again, needing to not do the same thing again, needing to call someone just to fill the time. There was so much time. We had more time than we ever knew what to do with. So like,
it's true.
Wasting time FaceTiming somebody, so many more people FaceTime and Zoom people than ever before. Right? Like Zoom wasn't a thing before the pandemic, right? It was some random office thing that nobody knew about, and now it's everywhere.
Now it's everywhere. Everyone uses it.
Because everyone used it because they needed to waste time.
Hell yeah,
FaceTiming.
But yeah, I like the song. It's relatable. It was great. He fucks with the aspect ratio a few times. I also like the way he zooms in, like anxious moments. He uses the camera to really like get in close.
It's movie mode. It's cinematic. It shouldn't be that cinematic because because he's juxtaposing it with his messy place where he literally, you can tell he just turned the camera on and then it switches to this cinematic moment that he had to completely set. Like, I appreciated that moment in the BTS near the beginning where he's like taking a tape measure and like measuring. Because Marcus, I don't know if you know this, but when I'm sitting here, I need to get something to control my my focus because I can't reach it because my camera's over there. Like that's a real, like, Marcus, the camera's over there. How do you focus it?
That's fair.
Yeah, you need to measure it and like work it out. That's real, you know?
It is real.
So the fact that any of this looks cinematic at all is wild.
It's amazing
feat in and of itself.
I mean, that beautiful shot that he has of him laying down with all the audio equipment surrounding him, and he's just like laying in a blanket talking into the microphone.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful shot.
Yeah. How painstaking was he with every single wire in that shot? He probably was. That's why
I know.
And then after, go ahead.
We get How the World Works is the next song.
How the World Works. The great, he had an awesome look at, again, lighting, where he used red and orange to make it seem Sesame Streety and childlike. He wears like a striped shirt like Bert and Ernie, and he totally has a Sesame Street moment.
Yeah,
this is
and he
classic
also,
Bo Burnham.
I feel like he used a lot of like, I could be remembering wrong, but I feel like there was a good amount of under lighting, which usually, because there's no natural light that comes from the ground, is usually used in lighting design to emphasize something dark or something supernatural or whatever, or ominous, which
no, he totally did.
Is appropriate for the song.
Totally. And he sings a Sesame Streety song about how the world works straight to camera. And then he has a great moment with a sock puppet.
Yes. It's a hilarious song. A comment on the world. It's you got to remember, during the pandemic, we also had huge Black Lives Matter movement, protests, and it's something that he is commenting on, right? He comments on it in this song and also in the comedy song, where he's like, what is my place in the world? What is my responsibility? I've had that question. You see the evils of the world, you understand the truths of the world. He's not saying that it's something that only he knows and he has the answer to. He's only the only one woke enough in the world to realize what's going on. He sees the injustices, but also, what the fuck are you supposed to do about it? Yeah,
he totes that line really well of being woke and calling out the wokeness, right?
Yeah.
Like, wokeness in and of itself is a little hypocritical, right? Like, when you are woke to a certain degree, you are alienating people, and that makes you not woke. Like, in and of itself, that is a thing that happens. So he's like,
I'm gonna say depending on the situation by situation. Yeah.
I almost always disagree, because yes, you should respect people and you should look at the world a certain way, but when you make that the dogma of the world, not everybody's there yet, and that's what creates such divides that cause such divisiveness in the world.
I think that there are, sure, I understand what you're saying, but there are degrees, just like with everything else.
I disagree. I think let's see.
You think all wokeness is bad? You think thinking that people deserve rights is bad?
No, I don't think the thinking of people needing rights is bad. I think the shouting it in someone's face is bad.
So you're saying that the approach, but that's what I'm saying. Not everyone's approach is shouting it into people's faces.
Well, then that's not like what woke means, right? Woke is like shouting it from the hilltops.
That's what you were saying woke means.
I think it is what it means.
I don't think it is. I'm going to disagree. We're going to disagree on this and move on.
I'm going to Google woke and talk to you about it later. I don't think that.
Okay.
Woke meaning.
You're Googling woke?
It's the past tense of wake. We figured this out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're on the, I don't know, it depends on your political stance. I feel like certain people can see wokeness as a problem. And I think that it can be a problem if it goes too far, to the point where you are no longer listening and understanding and trying to empathize with the other side. But I don't think it's inherently bad.
I think the problem, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, I think the problem is, in and of itself, in a vacuum, wokeness has no problem. It's about, like, the definition is literally alert to injustice in society, especially racism. That's great. We should totally do those things. 100%.
Yes. Nothing about yelling.
However, it's alert to injustice.
No, you are aware of it. It means that's the woke part. That is the wake. I am awake to the world. My eyes are open. There is no yelling about it.
But it is weaponized so much by so many people, and people use saying they're woke and saying these things out loud as if that is like when Nancy Pelosi wear kente cloths outside of the Capitol building, right? She's being woke. She is signaling to woke culture. She is virtue signaling. She is saying,
Sure.
I am woke. I understand there are problems and injustices in the world.
But virtue signaling is different than just the word woke. People are using, companies virtue signal all the time. Politicians virtue signal all the time. Fucking Pride Month. We just went through a whole fucking month of virtue signaling, and people are aware of it. People understand. But that doesn't
people
mean
don't. That's what I'm saying. Not everybody does.
Sure, but people see it. I mean, right now I'm seeing a bunch of memes since it's July 1st of people being like, the rainbow slowly fading away, and it's like corporations now that Pride Month is over. You know, like that meme is kind of everywhere now. People acknowledge that virtue signaling happens and that things are just flawed inherently, and people are going to abuse systems. But that doesn't mean that being aware of the fallacies of the world around us is bad. I think that there's an issue with the term woke, and it's been tainted by certain groups of people.
Sure. But I think that's the problem. I think the problem is people think being alert to it is the end of the conversation. Like, yeah, I know there's racism. That's it.
Yeah, but now you're saying, okay, but I feel like that's okay. We don't have to talk about it.
We can.
No, I was gonna say that's the opposite of what you're saying, because you're saying people aren't doing anything about it. People are alert to it and then not taking action. But then you're also saying on the opposite side that people are yelling too much about rights and being woke and stuff. So it's like, which one
instead
is
of
it?
doing stuff, like actively doing stuff.
But that's the hard part about knowing, and this song also bringing it back to Bo Burnham. And that's the hard part about knowing what is wrong with the world and not knowing what to do. People don't know what actions to take. I sat here during the Black Lives Matter protests, during everything that was going on, not knowing what the fuck my responsibility was, what my part in it is, right? As someone who supports these views but doesn't know what the fuck I should be doing. I don't have money to be donating all the time to these organizations. I can show up, but like, what else am I supposed to do? I vote. Like, it's hard. And this song, brings that point to light, that it's hard to know that there's so many issues going on in the world, and you are a victim of it, and it's also at the same time your responsibility to somehow do something about it, even though the systems are designed to fuck us over.
Yep.
It sucks, and I hate it.
Yeah. And that's all I'm saying. I think that's the problem, right? Like, people are confused. People don't know what to do. It's not. And you're right. I understand in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with being alert. That's great. Everyone should be alert. But people take that phrase of everyone needs to be alert and taints it, and they use it for villainy, and they use it to the entire Democratic Party. The reason I think I feel so strongly about it is the entire Democratic Party is based on wokeness. It's based on, we support these things. We support the middle class. We support gay people, we support black people, we support Hispanics, and then they don't do anything about those things. They still work for the corporations.
Yeah, no,
they still work for
100%.
corporate
I agree. Both sides are virtue signaling in different ways. One virtue signals about like America and that thing, and the other side virtue signals about wokeness. I think you're right on that front. I think politicians.
I think it just hurts me more because
evil.
The one is saying it. I think it just hurts me more because the one side is saying they side with me and then they don't do anything for me. You know what I'm saying?
I get that 100%.
Yeah,
you're more sensitive to that side. You're like, the other side I know is racist and doesn't give a shit about me. That's fine.
I never talk. I have nothing to say about the far right. There's nothing to say. I walk into the room and they shoot me. There's nothing to say. But talking about virtue signaling, it actually segues great to his next bit, because his next bit was being a brand ambassador, right? He was pretending to be the guy that bugles and Nike calls when they need to put like a pride slogan on their thing, and he like pretended to be like that guy. And he's like, Hershey's calls me when they need to prove that they're woke. He like did that whole bit, which is so which is so funny because how can he does this so well, right? He makes us ask the question without giving us the answer. Most people
Yes.
don't fucking do that.
And he also brings these things to light, like we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier, that we have so many things that we are worried about and that we see is obvious, right? Like people see the virtue signaling. Corporations aren't fucking hiding it. Like
Yeah.
everyone knows it's happening. It's just like, what the fuck are you gonna even do about it?
Yeah, and then half the people it works.
Yeah, it's part of the
You know?
existential comedy that is Bo Burnham.
You know, yeah. Like I don't know what we're supposed. Like you said, you don't know what you're supposed to do. I'm not supposed to shop at Amazon. I'm not supposed to eat at Chick-fil-A. I'm not supposed to buy Goya. Like the list is so long. Like I don't know what I'm
Fucking
supposed to do
Goya,
anymore.
man. Oh, that one hit hard. I'm gonna be honest. That
But
adobo,
honestly-
I still
but
have
honestly-
adobo. I'm not gonna get rid of it. I'm not gonna
But
buy
honestly,
more.
Marcus, that it's run by people that are related to like people in our family, and honestly, that sounded like some of my family members.
Same, 100%. Yeah.
How do you contend with that?
It is a difficult thing to contend with.
But
and then we have
after that, we had a nice little respite
uh-huh.
because we had white women Instagram.
White woman's Instagram, man. Yes, that's right. Take down those white
beautiful.
women.
Beautiful.
It was so
Honestly,
perfect. And
it was
honestly,
so
my favorite
perfect.
thing to come out of this is how a lot of people have been using the song on TikTok to show exactly and call themselves out for being those white women. It's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Hell, I posted a picture or two that was like how he was describing in my Instagram. If you look at it,
Yeah. We're all
Yeah.
white women, a little bit.
yeah. Ooh, Marcus,
relatable.
what we should do this upcoming week is we should both try to take our whitest woman Instagram photo and share it to the Now Try This Instagram. Guys, if you want
Okay.
to see this, tweet at us at Now
Got
Try
it.
This Cast. We will
Okay, we
give us
can
your
do that.
best white woman. But
We can
just
do
to
that.
talk about it aspectually, like the aspect he changed to like a square because fucking
Mhm.
Instagram, fucking genius.
Yeah.
And the guy did not cut any corners.
No.
All those shots looked so professional.
Yes.
The ones laying down, he had the pumpkin, he had the fucking like the rainbow cardboard thing, he
Yeah.
had or the rain, the black and white with the rainbow across his face.
The hoodie
was-
with the fur.
Oh, the hoodie with the fur, with
So
the
good.
washed out and the blue
Uh-huh.
eyes.
The cactus.
Like that's yes.
Everything was great.
It was
But-
it was exactly what it is.
But also aspect ratio, he went through the whole song making fun of white women and their Instagrams and basicness, but also changed the aspect ratio for a second to when it got real and she posted about her dead mom. And I feel like that was in his way. Yes, he's making fun of these people, but also realizing that they too are just people trying to exist in the world where you have to post something all of the time and be a part of the world, be a part of conversations constantly.
Yeah.
And that
Totally,
in that way,
100%.
he relates to these women.
Yeah, jeez. You know, like yes, nobody likes basic people, but at our core, we all kind of want to be a little basic.
100%. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
If I could
It would
just
be nice.
give up everything I cared about and just like be the perfect capitalist pawn, sure. That sounds nice sometimes. Give it to me.
So after this great song, we have this is just a quick stand-up bit where he's like, "Can anyone shut the fuck up?" I love when Bo Burnham. I was reading an article that was describing Bo Burnham at the beginning, and it's like when he first got introduced to the stand-up comedy, when he started doing comedy, he had no idea what it was like being in front of a live audience, right? And and they talked about how formative that was to who he was as a comedian and how it gave him like anxiety. Like it gave it to him because he went from one space to a different one and it was just different. But I always love when he's like a little self-referential and he's like, he tries to do the classic stand-up bits because that's almost him like paying homage, but also him like tearing it down to like its base, you know? And he's done this bit forever. He did that bit in Words. He's like, I'm just going to do a straight up regular stand-up bit for a second here in my comedy special. And he was like, oh my God, I've been married 16, like, you know, as a 19-year-old kid. And it's just a bit he always does. I really appreciate it.
It's nice to see that.
Oh, and you know what it reminds me of? I'm sure you've seen it. I watch it like every year or so. His episode when he's on the green room with like
yeah. When he's talking to the other comedians,
Ray Romano, and fucking legends,
that pops up
like,
all the time.
Absolute fucking legends. And every single one, like, who the fuck is this kid?
Yeah.
And then he keeps like having the best jokes. Like Mark Maron and Oliver Bueno, they're all comedians, so they're joke a minute fucking who's the guy that made 40-year-old version? Fucking Judd Apatow's there.
Yeah,
Judd Apatow. Yeah. and none of them can get as good of jokes as he is, and they're all like confused why. And
Uh-huh.
then the host asks him to do Art is Dead on the piano, and they're all like, fuck. And then the one comedian, who I forget his name, but he's like the oldest comedian, and he's like a Buddhist now. He's like, this kid's got it. This kid's
Yeah.
figured it out. Like, he gets it. Because somebody asked him, like, what's the key to comedy? And he's like, well, Bo's the closest one. And he's like fucking sitting in front of legends. Ray Romano,
Yeah.
Mark Maron. They're like, fucking
Yeah.
the behemoths of the comedy world. And Bo is the one that's getting like the attention.
It's also interesting to
I
have
was
to
just
deal
on that.
with. It's also interesting for him to have to contend with his success while also realizing that he is criticizing and critiquing the engine that is propelling his momentum into stardom.
Yeah, totally. And then we
Uh,
get this random, sorry,
Unpaid
to interrupt you, man.
intern.
Yeah, we get this random fucking little mini song, this black and white, wearing
Fucking love
sunglasses,
it.
blue song.
So good.
And the first time it came up, I'm just like, this is because it was so self-referential, and then it got into Bo Burnham songs, and then we just had White Girl Instagram,
Yeah.
and then we got this, and for a second I was like, okay, it's it kind of tricked me. It tricked me into thinking for a second it was just going to be almost just like a collection of music videos that he made that was still going to be great, just random songs that weren't connected anyway. And then the fucking purple backlight happened, and he's reacting now to the video we just watched.
I love the wop 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 wop. That's my favorite single noise. If we still did ringtones as a society, I feel like I would make that my ringtone.
I think you could.
I don't
Throwback,
want to.
maybe.
My ringtone, the only one I have now is the Silent Hill theme song, and that's it. And that's all I want.
You're so funny. So talk to me about the reactions.
So he starts off by reacting and critiquing his work, and then reacts and critiques to that reaction, and it continues for a while, and he keeps reacting and building upon the reacting. Every time one video ends, it seamlessly transitions into another video. I am constantly impressed with the technical aspects of this one bit. It is so good.
He live fed it to his computer on a delay or something. I don't know what the fuck he did, but it's seamless. And I love it because there's always so many layers to comedy, and we've been talking about that, right? A lot. And he, in just this one bit, explained the layers with each reaction. The first one is just the funny, stupid song. And then there's the layer of like, actually, I'm talking about how, we never make songs about the working class anymore. And then the next layer is like, actually, this is me just being pretentious because I'm insecure.
Yeah.
And then the next one is like, actually, now I'm confused about what we're even talking about. The next one's like, I hate this. I want this to stop. I hate everything about this. I hate it. I hate everything.
Yeah.
And that's like, it's comedy.
That's also how brains work, right?
Yes.
And it's a good example of how anxiety works. I was trying to explain this to Darren the other day, but I don't think that this is something that everyone experiences, but do you have overlapping thoughts where you are thinking of like 5 things at the same exact time, and it is overwhelming?
No, I have pervasive thoughts. I have one giant like
bad thought that just
like
can't
my anxiety,
stink away.
like we both have anxiety, but ours is different because yours is like that. Mine is, I get crippled by the one thing. You're crippled because you have 16 things.
But this reminded me of that. I was like, there's a lot of noise in my brain, and it's all overlapping sometimes, and I can't handle it.
Wow, that's cool.
It's nice to see something like that represented on screen.
It's funny because we get other things that say, I'm talking about mental illness and I'm doing this, but like there's always an air to it that's like something's missing or you don't get it.
Yeah.
There's only a quick story from me, just because I want to hear myself talk a little more. The only other moment that this has ever happened to me besides the special is when I saw Chris Gethard's career suicide. I was lucky enough to see it live. He does have his special recorded. Everybody that suffers from depression or any other mental illness, I would highly, highly suggest to go check it out. It is a great piece of work. It's, again, a stand-up special, but about his depression and mental illness. And I went to see it with Zach. I went to see it with our ex-roommate, Zach. And I went to see that show because I had an extra ticket. We went to see it, and it was great. And I related to it so much, and it was super funny, and it got really quiet some moments and scary about him being suicidal and his experience with drugs for the first time and coming off of those drugs and his experience with it. And not drugs like drugs. Drugs isn't like trying to help with his mental illness prescriptions, like helping, like antidepressants and stuff. And like the show was deeply impactful. I remember all of it, but the most impactful thing was when we left that show. And I feel like it's what you're describing here with this. You can see anxiety here,
Mhm.
where we left that show, and Zach turned to me after that show. And he's like, "Oh, you have depression." And I was like, "Yeah, I've said it to you guys. I know
Yeah.
I do." He's like, "No, but like what he was talking about." I was like, "Yeah, that's depression." And he was like, it blew his mind
Yeah.
because it was such a good encapsulation of what depression is
Yeah.
and like what it means. Because depression doesn't mean sad. It doesn't mean you're having a bad day. Just like anxiety doesn't mean you're overthinking. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean like you don't like social situations and you're like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's not what it actually is. Like, if you boil it down, sure, you can talk about anything like that. You can say the fucking Mets are a couple kids playing with sticks. That's not what it is, right?
Yeah.
But that's the only other time that I've ever experienced what you're talking about, where in a
Yeah.
thing, it's like, oh, yes,
Yes.
that.
Yeah. And I feel like if to continue the talks about suicide, I feel like he brings it up a lot. And in the exact same way that I did earlier, where I laughed at it immediately. It's like, it's just when it's real like that, it's every day, all of the time. To quote
Yeah.
a later song, it's something that is just with you constantly, and you joke about it, not because you're trying to minimize how serious it is, but yes, a little bit of that, but mainly because you live with it every single day, so it doesn't seem as big as and grandiose as it should be, right? Like
Yeah.
I used to think about killing myself every single day. I would wake up and make an active choice every single day to not kill myself, and I was like, okay, here's the reasons why I'm not going to do it today, right? Like that's how I lived my life. I didn't know that wasn't normal. I just didn't know, and I don't know why, but it like I went to therapy and I told my therapist that, like, I was like, oh yeah, for the past like 20 years, I've just every day I think about killing myself. She was like, that's not right. Like you shouldn't do that. That's not normal. What causes these things? What's like triggering them? And I was like, waking up? I don't know. Like, having to live is triggering these thoughts, and it took a lot of work to get through that, and I'm in a much better place now. But it's when you live with these things that it becomes so easy to joke about, and in ways that I see here in this comedy special.
Agreed. Then we get the first song about Jeff Bezos.
Jeffrey Bezos. Jeffrey Bezos. Oh God. It's such a fucking banger of a song for no reason. It should not be so good. All of these songs shouldn't be that good. I listen to comedy songs unironically, like Weird Al, like Ninja Sex Party, like Stephen Lynch, like these things. They're usually not great.
I like Flight of the Conchords.
Flight of the Conchords? They're usually not
great.
Good songs. They're funny, and then you listen to them for a little while because they're funny, and then the comedy of it dies. These songs are just
loop back around in a year or two.
Yeah, these songs are just fucking good. Like I want to listen to Jeffrey Bezos all the time. Also,
he is literally like a musician. He's you can tell he fucking gets it.
He also Jeffrey Bezos is the thing that he like. You did it. You won. That is my favorite fucking line of the songs.
What?
He just won capitalism. You did it, Jeffrey Bezos. Darren and I are constantly talking about how he could just solve every problem in the world. He could. There's tweets all the time saying he could be Batman. He could do anything, and he doesn't. He's just a piece of shit.
You know what? You want to know something? Maybe you already know this, but you know, baby boy Bezos owns the Washington Post.
Yes, I do know that.
And did you know that when he got caught with the scandal about his girlfriend and the messages, he had the Washington Post run a story about how he got hacked.
Oh my God.
By, I don't remember, Syrians or some shit like that. And like that was the story they ran instead of being like Bezos is like a dick.
Guys, Jeffrey Bezos is a piece of shit.
How about entrepreneur Jeff Bezos got hacked by foreign
Fuck
agents?
That guy. He's a piece of shit. And guys, remember to use the Amazon on Prime sub to give us Jeffrey Bezos' money and support the podcast.
Oh God. You know what I really wish would happen? I really wish one of my leftist commentary. It's why I'm so like strong-willed about like everything I think about on the left. But one of them said the other day is like, I just don't understand why I can't have a button on Amazon where I can pay a little more so my delivery guy doesn't have to pee in a bucket.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a great point. I would add an extra $1 to every one of my orders to make sure that my delivery guy.
But we
didn't have to pee
shouldn't
in a bottle.
have to, because that's the same problem with tipping waiters and waitresses. It's like we shouldn't
This is
pay
also true.
for companies to get away with this shit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right. They did a study on because you know how McDonald's is like, we can't pay everybody $15 because it'll make the prices go up and everyone will be pissed about it. I think they did the math. Somebody did the math, and the Big Mac would go up 40 cents to pay people a
Too
living wage.
much money for me.
Too much money.
40 cents
Too much
of
money, yeah.
my hard-earned cash. No, thank
Bezos
you.
deserves that shit.
Nope. I need my fucking Big Macs at a discount, baby.
And then Marcus, get close to the camera. 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 Now it's time for a little sexy time, Bo Burnham. Sexy sexting. Marcus, for this close to the camera, tell me about.
Oh, sorry.
This close to the camera. Tell me about a sexting experience you had, and tell me in your like deepest, sultriest voice. Yes, where's the?
I don't remember any sexting experiences.
No. You got this. You got this. Tell me.
I'll make one
tell
up.
me about.
Oh,
tell me
one
about
time
it. Yeah.
I was sending this really
boy.
sexy dick pic to someone and accidentally sent it to your mom.
Oh yeah.
And she liked it, and it's awkward now every time I see her.
Oh yeah. One time I sent my penis to somebody, and actually I would never do that without consent, so I haven't done that. But so I messaged a girl and said, "Hey, do I have your consent to send you a picture of this D?"
Nice.
And they were like,
"Consent,
"Yeah."
sexy.
And then they got it, and then they never messaged me back.
Nice. Fuck yeah.
And then we got Bo Burnham's song "Sexting."
I thought for this episode you would make me do a game where I had to make up songs. So I was like, what? I was trying to like pre-think because anxiety, right? I was trying to plan ahead and be like, okay, if he asks me to improv a song, what can I possibly improv a song? So in my head, I made up a story about a man who goes to work in 9 to 5, comes home, and he's
Marcus?
like, go, yes.
Sing it.
I can't. No, I can't do it. I can't do it.
No,
It's
you got it.
too stressful. I want to describe it. The premise is funnier than the song. I can't.
Oh, okay. You give me the premise bit
I'll
by
give you
bit,
the
and
premise.
I'll sing it.
Okay. I'll give you the premise. A man works 9 to 5, comes home
9 to 5.
from his long day, right? He's scrolling through his
9 to
phone,
5.
relaxing, and he
Scrolling.
sees just a woman that he thinks is beautiful, and she's one of the most beautiful women he's ever seen. And it's like someone that he used to go to high school with and had a crush on, but he can't put into words how beautiful she is and how she makes him feel about himself. And so instead he sends her a dick pic. That was the song I had in my head, and it was gonna have it was gonna describe her beauty and then end with the joke of he just sent her a dick pic instead.
Okay. Here is my rendition of love, dick pic love.
Okay.
Well, I woke up today feeling kinda sad. I thought I would go to work, see what I can have had. It's my 9 to 5 every day. Then I go home and I cry, 'cause I ain't got a woman to love, not even someone to say goodbye. But then I thought about my crush way back in high school, and I thought it isn't too much to reconnect, 'cause now I'm cool.
Nice.
I pulled up her number, got real fly, thought, hey, I'm a nice guy, and sent a dick pic.
Beautiful.
I sent a dick pic.
Beautiful.
Ooh, I sent a dick pic. Ooh, sent a dick pic. It was an accident, yeah. I sent a dick pic accidentally. A dick pic accidentally.
Okay. Yeah.
I got blocked.
Nice. Beautiful. Thank you for
There you
turning
go.
my idea into reality, Nick.
Marcus, literally anytime. I got your pick.
I appreciate it. Guys, comedy is hard.
Guys, catch me off Broadway, baby.
Hell yeah.
Yo, so then we got the sexting song, which honestly it was fucking fire. The
was
song
great.
was fire. The lighting was fire.
Oh God, the way he
Bo
used
fucking
projections.
standing there in
Good
fucking
stuff.
underwear. Honestly, it was hot. It was
I think
fire.
this is the song where he has the 69 on the AC. If if I remember correctly.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite was two things. One was the line about like, let's talk like Egyptians with hieroglyphics,
Oh
with
god,
emojis.
hieroglyphics.
And
yeah.
I was like, somehow it's not supposed to be, but somehow that's like deeply poetic that we have now regressed back to the way we used to do things.
yeah.
Not a language,
Uh-huh.
a representation of an idea.
Yes. I mean, the ancient Egyptians were onto something, okay? They were doing gifts before gifts were a thing. Big
Yeah.
brains.
Totally.
That's
And
how
then
they invented the fucking pyramids, guys. It wasn't aliens. It was just the big brained Egyptians figuring shit out, being way ahead of their fucking time.
And then there was a great exchange. It was like, she sent a peach, I sent a carrot. She sent a Ferris wheel, I sent a ticket stub. Oh no, now does she think I think her vagina's fat? Snowman. We're all good.
Very relatable.
Very
relatable.
relatable.
I feel like sexting is hard.
I've been sexting people and I've been like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And then they say something or send something and I'm like, how am I supposed to respond to that? Fuck. And now I'm like out of time schedule because they're like sitting there waiting.
I know.
Snowman. Fuck.
I agree. Or you get to with someone who's too into role playing, and you're like, okay, like I get it. I'm Hagrid and you're Harry Potter. And
ooh, let's see how. Okay, let's see. I was like, Hagrid, do you think I can come and pet the animals sometime?
Oh yeah, I it's always about something that I don't know that much about, like Harry Potter, where I'm like, yeah, I'm the big one. Come and get it. I got kicked out of wizard school. And I'm dumb. So do you want to pet my dragon? I'm not good at it.
Yeah. Let's call Hermione and get some help with our homework.
Oh, damn. See, yeah, that's good. They're underage. It's gross.
Now, there was a bit that I didn't get. So I want you to explain it to me. It's when he had a green bat and it was like YouTube background music. And he was like, hey guys, so thankful for you to come listen to my song. But he was holding a knife.
Yeah.
And then he ended it with just like staring into the camera.
I think it's just the modern way that YouTube personalities interact with their fans, where it is menacing in a way, but also you can't tell if the knife is for himself or for the audience. Is it a threat? Either way, that he was hanging by a thread, willing to use the knife on himself. Yeah. If he doesn't get the adoration of his viewers, or is he going to turn the knife on his fans and become a monster who hates his fandom and is only using them?
I think you nailed it.
Maybe.
What about this next part? I like this game. This is a good game. All right, what about the next moment where he's sitting there, Shia LaBeouf style, watching his first YouTube video on the screen?
God, Darren, when we were watching it again, she said, this hurts me. And I think I understand why. It's just something about being able to see your younger self at your sort of your cringiest times. 100%. Yeah, this game is just being explained inside too. So it's like, it's the same thing that made 8th grade so relatable. It's just something about him tapping into what it means to reflect on who you are. And also the fact that he is in a unique position where all of his like failures and attempts at stardom and fame are online. And it's something that we will soon all be able to relate to, Gen Z more than anyone else, where their birth, their like infancy, their childhood, everything is recorded and online, and they can sit there and reflect on it at any moment. And that's not always a good thing.
Yeah. Which leads us perfectly into his song Problematic.
Yes. I'm problematic.
Which is filmed like a workout video where he's all sweaty and it looks like Flashdance or something. Fucking beautiful. It looks great.
I love this song. It's great. And I feel like this song represents so much of what it's kind of like the wokeness thing we were talking about, where like
totally.
I feel like what he's trying to say is that people, I mean, I think he's both criticizing it and also criticizing the people who complain about it too much, right? Like a lot 100%. Of comedians nowadays are like, oh, we're so PC. I can't talk about how much I hate black people anymore. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, this is a perfect example of how you are able to just fucking still do comedy. Comedy isn't going anywhere. It hasn't gone anywhere.
And sincerely apologize.
Huh?
And sincerely apologize. Like in the song, he's apologizing. It's
Yes.
satire. But he's criticizing himself. He's like, yes, my bad. I fucked up. I didn't know what I was doing. I was a kid. And he said it in interviews too. He's like, yeah, I do not. 16-year-old Bo is indefendable. He said that in an interview.
Yep.
And
it's
like,
tongue in cheek, but also criticizing other people who are just out there complaining and whining about it. I think Tim Heidecker from Tim and Eric Awesome Show, great job. He had a comedy special recently where he just went outside as a character, like a modern day comedian who used to be popular back in the day and is like coming back and being complaining about comedy and how everything's too PC and no one understands him, and it had similar vibes to that.
Oh, where it's self-referential kind of thing.
Self-referential,
like, he gets it. He gets it. Because he's probably said, I mean, Tim and Eric show, he's probably said some problematic things, right?
I mean,
it's part of that Adult Swim era, probably.
It was so weird that I don't think he did, but I wouldn't be surprised. Fair. Yeah, I mean, if his whole bit, one of his bits was like walking on a beach with shrimp and in a martini glass, like I don't know, I don't think that was meant to offend anybody.
Then the next song is one of my favorites. I loved 30 because of the lights.
Yes,
it was beautiful. So he had a single light on him, and then during the drum beats of the song, he had an LED on his back, and he like flashed his back. So he gave like moving moving lights himself. It was genius for so many reasons.
It was incredible. I saw him flashing with the little light, and I was just so fucking impressed. Right? I mean, you remember in school that we were told that lighting by certain people mattered, and then directors and actors are like, we can act anywhere, we can do it anywhere, do anything. It's not we don't need it for our craft, but it's a part of the whole picture, and when done well, it can be incredible. Totally. Loved it.
Yeah, love that song. And I love that song also because it dealt with I mean, we recently turned 30, and it's Tick Tick Boom is one of my favorite songs of musicals, and it's about the same thing about turning 30 and like being at this place in your life where it's like, you know, and it also like, I love this whole segment because millennials are weird. We're a weird generation because in our 30s, we aren't all having kids and settling down, and there's still tons of people in our generation. Wars. Yeah. There's tons of people in our generation still living at home, and the birth rate of our country is going down. And when you ask people why, number one is like, we don't have like enough money yet. But also the fucking Gen Z Zoomers making fun of us. And where they make fun of us, it was like, you took out the trash today, #adulting. You're fucking pushing 30. I hope you're a fucking adult. And because that's how we talk still.
Yeah.
And like Gen Z is like making fun of us for it. And like totally warranted. We should not 100%. Be talking like that.
No.
But the reason we are is because we've been stunted by the financial crisis, now by this. Like, we don't feel like adults. Like, we feel like if we were a part of the past generation, we would have had children by now, no matter what, because we would have been like, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you're in the same boat as me, where it's like, I can't yet.
We also have more freedom than we have ever had before as people, right? Like, you have the freedom of choice. I mean, it's freedom in air quotes, because we have the option to do whatever fuck you want. Right? So I feel like it's hard.
Do we?
We don't. We do and we don't, right? Like, you have the option to do whatever you want, and you have the drive and the passion and the awareness, but you are limited by your surroundings, your finances, what's going on in the world, but you still want and crave those things. So that's why it's like, I could be doing this. I want to be doing this instead, but instead I'm having to adult.
Yeah, totally. And then after that bit is that great one you mentioned about him saying, I'm not going to kill myself.
Yep.
And he's like talking. But then it does this really interesting thing where he's like talking about it. And then he watches that bit later with his full on beard. He's like sitting there silently criticizing it.
Yeah.
Which is like wild because, you know, I mean, we're all our own self-critics, right? You know, because he's one side like feeling bad for himself and one side criticizing himself, right? He's like, wow, that poor guy is suicidal. And that's me. I'm the poor guy, you know? Like, I'll never forget when I was early on in therapy, when she asked me, he's like, have you faced any traumas? And I'm like, no, I haven't faced any traumas. I'm fine. Whatever. I'm fine. Whatever. And then she asked me a story. She asked me about something, as therapists do. And then she asked me about something specific. And I got really sad and I started to cry. And she asked me, like, why am I crying? And I was like, as we were telling a story about college age me, I was crying because I was like, I just feel bad for that kid.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, that's trauma. And I was like, oh, well, fuck.
I agree. I feel like, I mean, not to get too into your personal life, but I do feel like a lot of your woes came from during college times, which is a hard place for it to come.
College was rough, man. I mean, I had depression and I had things before that.
Yeah.
You know, totally. Like, if you saw how my freshman year went, but like, man, did those fucking fire burners get turned up real quick, real fast. Having to support myself and work out through all that and be completely on my own.
Things got hot.
Things got hot.
Things got hot. Not in a sexy way.
God. Oh man. What? Oh man. Now you got me thinking. It's like, what if college was different? Wow. I'd be the same place. I'm fucking killing it right now. We're doing great.
You're doing great. I'm doing great.
We're fucking killing it right now.
We're killing it.
Yeah. If you asked college age us, if you showed college age us what we are out like exactly right now at this moment, we would have like cried with how great we're doing.
100%. 100%. Hold on 1 second. Someone's like, I think, am I getting a phone call?
Marcus is getting a phone call. He's getting a phone call. He uses his phone for his camera. Getting a phone call. Marcus is getting a phone call.
There you go.
Telemarketer or sex worker, estranged mistress or
maybe it's
lover.
both.
It's an old childhood friend asking for money, a long lost cousin suffering.
Telemarketer sex worker is like a very convenient job. You're sitting there at the phone and you have to like, hi, I'm here to sell you this thing. Oh, you don't want it? Let's fuck instead. I'd be down.
There was a comma.
Oh, comma.
Marketer.
I mean, if a guy called me in the middle of the workday, I'd be like, you know what? Sure. Let's go for it, man.
Right. Next song is Don't Wanna Know. It's filmed from far. This was like a short song, but he like filmed it from like far away. Like, instead of he did this a couple times where he like didn't do a cinematic, wonderfully cool thing. Like he literally like put himself with the light farther away and filmed farther away to like, it's like that old Breck thing, right? Where he's like breaking the fourth wall on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like he wants you to know, he doesn't want you to be fully immersed because he wants you to think about it, right? Like it's a very classic technique of establishing the fourth wall and then breaking it. So you know that you're supposed to be thinking about what you're watching.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. And then we got the Twitch
I love
stream
the shot.
a bit.
Even God, it's so impressive just the way that even the most mundane of things, it just looks like an apartment, right? It's just it's so well done.
Totally.
Okay,
and
sorry.
then you're fine. And then is his Twitch streamer moment where he's playing a game of himself, which honestly just funny. It's great.
It's just a funny bit. It's another part where it's like, oh, this is a comedy special. I remember now. I'm not sad.
Yeah. I mean, like there is a little bit of commentary under it about like him controlling himself and crying and getting through the day that way, like trying to play Five Nights at Freddy's but of real life, which is just like sad of himself. But honestly, it's just funny. Oh
God, I laugh at this bit every time because he's like, oh, it's like like just a random joke at the video game community. It's like, oh, it's like Death Stranding. It's supposed to be boring, and that's the message. Like,
yeah. And then I also love what he's saying. There's like, thanks Dante for the 4 months. It's just so like it's Twitch. That's what Twitch is.
Relatable. It's in the middle of talking about your depression. Someone will donate $5 and you will have to stop and thank them.
Guys, if you want us to shout you out right now, like Bo Burnham does in his special, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. Twitch Live right now.
Hell yeah.
Subscribe.
Let's go. Donate. I see those numbers changing, guys. I see you leaving.
Yeah, there's no people here. There's no people here. New people here. If you don't know what this is, if you stumbled across it, subscribe and I promise it'll pay off.
We will pay you. We'll give you $5.
And then it was interesting because then there was this great moment where he went to sleep on a futon.
Yes.
And then the comedy special like got real sad. And then later he like wakes up from that futon, right? So it's like, is he saying this was all in his head? Is he saying like all these are feelings he had? I mean, that's probably what it is, right? Like these are all inside feelings. Or
he's
it's all
saying
a dream.
What he's saying, what he said earlier, a lie. Is a lie. Remember earlier he says that like the only time he feels good is when he's asleep. Maybe that's just a fucking lie and there is no respite from mental illness. It gets you in your sleep too, guys. Woo! Fun times.
Damn.
I don't think that's
I can't talk for a second because that hit too hard. That hit me too hard. And then he sings a song about feeling like a bag of shit. Feeling like a bag of shit.
God, I love that song.
Feeling like a bag of shit.
Yeah. It's so funny how so much of it's so well done, and then at the same time, it just makes there's so much dumb humor, so many silly jokes in it too. You know?
Yeah.
He just gets comedy. It is incredible how one person could just get it.
And then he does do another small bit called All Time Low, but then
Mm-hmm.
the next big moment is when he sings Welcome to the Internet.
Welcome to the internet.
As like a fucking vaudevillian. It reminded me of like Across the Universe or something, but it was like some like circusy kind of fucking ringleadery kind of vibe of like, welcome to the internet.
Yes.
Welcome to the, you know?
It's incredible. It's different than the rest of his songs for sure.
Everything, all of the time.
Everything all of the time. It's just a commentary on how the internet is constantly trying to grab you in, and it has something there for everybody, and there's no escaping it. And you're gonna constantly be on it all the time, no matter what, whether you like it or not. And especially during the pandemic, I mean, that's what the fuck else were we doing? People weren't going outside. People weren't doing anything. You couldn't go anywhere. So all you had was the internet as both an escape and a prison.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, there's an argument to be had that it helped us during this time, but it was also an argument to have like, wow, like what if also during the pandemic the internet went away? Like, would that have made us better or worse?
I think wars would have been started. Maybe. I think if you take away porn from everyone at the same time.
Oh, I forgot about porn. Yeah. I really needed porn during the Marcus. I watched a lot of porn during the pandemic.
I imagine. I think there would have been a lot of deaths. A lot of murders.
Funny. That would have been a very easy moment to be like, me too, Nick. Camaraderie. Instead of it was like, I imagine you did watch a lot of porn. Thanks, Marcus. Solidarity. Right there with me.
Oh, me too. Oh God, I watched so much porn too.
Also. Oh man, what kind?
Water bottle tape porn. It's very niche.
My favorite.
It's very niche. It's like you're being.
Yo, you saw 2 liters into a gallon?
2 liters into a gallon, yeah. Spicy stuff.
Oh goodness. And then we get probably another great bop. Bezos number 2.
Jeffrey Bezos. God, fucking what was
the like far right fucking hunting looking like a bush swamp person outfit he was wearing? Like,
it was from Amazon.com. I've seen that so many times. It's
from Amazon.
It's a hot seller. Every time I look for costumes, it is the first thing that comes up under costumes.
Wow, that's
Amazon.
like super meta. That's exactly why he was wearing it.
I am assuming that's why he was wearing it.
Wow, that's nice. That's real nice. Let's see.
That funny feeling.
Yep, that funny feeling with his forest backdrop. This song was different than a lot of the other ones. Because it was acoustic-y, because it was a little different.
Yes.
But it was about disassociation, right? Like what's real and what's not. And like him talking about, you know, somebody asked you in the chat what you're doing looking for costumes. I think they deserve an answer.
Oh, you know, here's what I'll do. A quick answer. Are you ready? Because I've been obese most of my life, I haven't been able to dress up as anything ever for Halloween. And then ever since I lost weight a few years ago, I want to dress up for Halloween every year. But every year I panic and stress out so much about it that I never dress up. And I still have never dressed up for Halloween in my adult life for anything. So one year I will be brave enough to actually come up with a costume, but I spend months beforehand searching for a costume.
I feel the exact same way. I was really close to buying a costume this last Halloween, but we were still in the pandemic. I didn't have anywhere to go.
That was it too, yeah.
Yeah, I was really close to doing. You know what I almost bought?
What you almost buy?
I almost bought a Haikyuu costume. Be one of those volleyball boys.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Ooh,
like
we should both get one and take some pictures. That'd be fun.
I like that.
Because there's one taller boy and the shorter.
Do I have to be the taller one?
No, it would be funnier if you got a red wig and you were the tall one and you were the redhead kid and I'll be the short one.
Let me be the short one. Yeah, I'll be the tall one. I'm ready.
Whatever, we'll figure it out. We'll play some volleyball in Haikyuu. Ooh, we should go play volleyball somewhere in our Haikyuu costume.
Oh, anyway. I would do that 100%.
That would be fun. That would be hella fun. But yeah, Dash Line 442, this is his Taylor Swift song. Very, very folklore. Is that the name of that album? Folklore?
Yes.
Taylor Swift's new song?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much listening to it nonstop.
Yeah, but it's about he says it's about derealization and his depression. And I don't have derealization, but I've heard of it. I understand it.
Derealization or disassociation?
The song's about disassociation, but in the song he says he like calls the doctor and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
goes what derealization is.
Got
You
it.
know, so it's kind of he's talking about both, but he's talking about not feeling real and not feeling like the world is a real thing,
Mhm.
and that's that's a type of depression that some people deal with, where everything's
Yeah.
they get very out of body, and it's they see what's going on from the outside, and nothing. They have trouble establishing that the world is real and important in that way. And that's what that one is about.
That is not something I disassociate a lot. I have that problem, and that is something I'm going back to therapy to deal with. Now that I've dealt with other things, I can deal with this thing.
Yeah.
Because I can't attach to people or feel close to anybody. It's not a good feeling, and I hate it. So I want to figure that out. But so I get the dissociation part of it.
Yeah. Good job, Marcus from the chat. Did someone say volleyball? We did say volleyball. Go watch Haikyuu Drum Bum 914, and then you
Fuck
can join
yeah.
us in getting these costumes, and you can join in the fun.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and then
We'll
he
go play
has
volleyball.
the outburst we were talking about of whether or not they're real or fake, but but basically, even if they're not real, even if they are real, it doesn't matter. The point is, the reason that they're in here is to show what anxiety does to you as you're like creating and as you're in these moments, and as what you're having to deal with and contend with as you're creating and doing all these things. But then the next song is All Eyes on Me, which is a Tupac song.
Yes, it's a very good song. I love the way it's filmed, like beautiful lighting, beautiful
It's
shots up close. I feel like
Yeah.
this is where Bo Burnham shines, right? Like we talked about his anxiety performing live and how part of that ends up with people needing to feel like they are in control. And when you have live things, you just lose control, right? Like you can't control everything because there's an audience that you can't control. You might have to end up kicking someone out in the middle of your show, or there's stuff that will go wrong technically, or people backstage, or whatever the reason, or you just feel off that day. Like there's so many aspects to it that I think would hinder the process. But this whole thing being done at home digitally is hard, and it's hard mentally on his mental health, but it's also good because I feel like he gets to do all of this and create a masterpiece.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of all his other specials. He always ends at a big moment like this, a big song that like sounds like it could be a pop song on the radio because it's just so good.
I would love that. I would love if just we turn on the radio one day. I don't know who listens to the radio anymore, but a Bo Burnham song was just on there.
I was in a car that Lexi and I had rented, and we were like listening to the radio, and she was like connecting her phone, and I was like, no, let's listen to the radio.
How old?
And we ended up on a random Spanish station. I was vibing.
Nice.
And then Lexi was like, what the fuck are we listening to? Can we put it on something else? I'm like, okay.
Was he just playing reggaeton?
Probably.
God, it's all the music now. It's fine.
And
Anytime I listen to Spanish music now, it's like
and then pretty much just the last song. There's a lot of little bits in here, but some good BTS footage about like him wrapping it up. But we already started talking about the end part a little bit, how he filmed it early, or shaved and filmed it at the end.
Yeah.
He filmed it early, a take of what the song could be, and then cut to him at the end singing said song.
I like to think that this is earnest. I don't know why.
Me too. It
but
felt like it.
It feels earnest.
Bo messes with a lot of things about reality, but I feel like when he puts sincerity in, it's usually like super on purpose. Because even if he's faking the sincerity, he's not faking the intention, right? Like he wants you to feel sincerity in that moment, right?
Yeah.
So it almost doesn't matter. But I agree with you. I think it is an earnest. It felt real to me.
And that's all the songs.
You know what's wild? Bo Burnham, after Promising Young Woman and this thing, he just got a gig where he's going to be on a Stars or Showtime show or something about like the life and times of Larry Bird.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Tall white guy. That's a good actor. Larry Bird.
I guess so. I watched an interview once with him, and he talked about acting, and he was like, the hardest thing to do is something mundane. It's so hard. You forget how to be a person, and you're just like, this is how I drink coffee. Am I drinking it right? And you just overthink it.
Yeah, this is true, Marcus. Yeah, 100%.
And I thought it was funny.
I have sat there and I'd be like,
I am drinking the coffee now.
Yeah. Some of the best actors in the world are the ones that don't understand what they're doing right? Like they're able to drink coffee interestingly without thinking about it. They're the lucky ones. I can't.
McLaughlin.
Two in my head.
What's his name? Twin Peaks, man.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know.
I
feel like he's good, but he's thinking about it.
I don't know.
Everything he does is intentional.
I don't know. I think he's not thinking about it enough sometimes.
Damn fine cup of coffee.
Okay,
That's true.
so
Well, Marcus.
that's Bo Burnham. You guys made us talk about it, so we talked for an hour and 40 minutes about our depression and
You asked for it.
why to kill ourselves.
And you
so thank
asked
you,
for
Patreon.
it on patreon.com/nowtrythiscast, where you can join and influence the next try next month. Guys, join the
Hell yeah.
conversation. Let us know what you want to see next. If you want more content, let us know. If there's enough patrons, we can devote more time to the podcast. We would love that. We would love to do that. So please come check us out. And honestly, it was cathartic. Thank you so much, Rian414, for the suggestion.
Hell yeah.
We love you guys. Bo Burnham has his outlet. And honestly, we have ours, and this has helped us a lot, especially at the tail end of this block party that we are.
Hell yes. I mean, it's been incredible to do this, and it's great that we get to do this because you guys are supporting the podcast through Patreon. We seriously don't think we would have been able to do it without it because it's expensive, and we are not made of money.
Hey, listen, I got a suggestion in the audience if they want to sign up for the Patreon again to vote multiple times. I can't stop you. I don't know if -942, if that shouldn't, and then -9441 logs on and makes an account. Who am I to say?
Who knows?
Yeah. The voting's blind. I'll never know. So go ahead. So please go ahead and sign up multiple times. Make sure your suggestion comes through.
So Nick, what did you think of Bo Burnham's Inside?
Yes, I loved it. It was great. What did you think?
Nice. I fucking loved it. It resonated with me a little too much.
One of the best things I've ever seen. Definitely the best. Comedy special is definitely the best piece of meta commentary on the world that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Definitely all those things. Marcus, would you watch more Bo Burnham?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to keep watching whatever the fuck this guy makes. He's
Inside
great.
2.
No pressure.
Inside 2.
I would like 5 years to not pass again.
Sure.
But
But
also,
don't worry, you're gonna get that Larry Bird show.
But also, if it takes 10 years to make something this great again, fine, do it. Whatever it takes.
That's true. That is true. What a great Game of Thrones way to think about things.
What did you think of? Would you recommend this?
Yeah.
Who would
Here's
you
the thing,
recommend it
I
to,
think
Nick?
Anybody, because I think some of Bo Burnham's stuff I don't think is for everybody. It's very meta. It's very like anti-joke, and that's not everyone's cup of tea. I get that. It's totally ours. That's why we love it. But I totally get it's not everybody's. But I think this special, in the times, what it's saying, I think will everybody will get the white woman Instagram joke. And everybody gets the existential dread we've all felt being cooped up for a year and a half.
Yeah.
So I honestly think anybody could watch this and at least appreciate the music, the songs, and the craftsmanship that's went into
It's
it.
very relatable. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I would also recommend it to everybody.
Same. All right, Marcus, that's the end of the show. Now, Marcus.
Woo! We did it, guys. We survived. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
you
but
are
before
incredible.
before you say goodbye, Marcus, this podcast has been deep for a long time. We watched Bo Burnham. Oh, what an excellent crisis. We watched one of your favorite animes, and while maybe that could have been light, it was not, because we loved it so much. We've been all over the place with all over the country. We've been talking about rewriting movies and doing these horror things and doing all these like old things. I want to do something that is so quintessentially dumb, that is back to our roots of this podcast, right, Marcus? Marcus, this podcast isn't about finding things that you love. It's about finding things that showing me showing you things I love that are getting me through a time, and you experiencing that thing with me. Us doing it together.
Yeah,
and it's been a minute since we've done something dumb. Something that on its face I can't defend. And I feel like that is what our podcast is at its core.
100%.
And it's been a minute since I've done that. So, Marcus, you are going to hate me so much.
No, I won't. I'll love
because you. Oh, I'm going to cry. You got out. You made your way out, Marcus.
I got out?
But you got me in, and I can't get out, and I'm pulling you back in, baby.
Oh,
Marcus,
what are you pulling me into?
The newest season of The Bachelorette is up and running, and you are coming back in, baby.
I made it out.
You are coming back into Bachelor Nation.
What are you
We got a new
about?
Bachelorette. Her name is Katie. She is a sex-positive, wonderful woman, and you are going to follow her story.
No.
Marcus, we're watching The Bachelorette next week.
What? Okay, we'll talk about it later. How much I have to watch, because I don't know how much is out.
Marcus, 4 episodes are out. By the time we film the next one, the 5th episode's out. You have to watch 2.
Okay.
If you can watch more, it would be great, because you know how wild this show goes, how quickly.
Yeah.
You know, if you can catch up, that would be wild, really hard, but it would be worth it. But you watch at least 2, do as much as you can. 2 is more than enough to talk about what's going on and set ourselves up. Let me know how much you watch. Guys, guys, catch up on the Bachelorette Katie
Oh my
season, because
God.
that's what Now Try This is doing next week. Back to Bachelor Pad worldness.
Nick, tell
Yeah?
everyone where
Oh,
they
yeah,
can
everyone.
find us. Where can they follow us? Where, if they want to know more information about us and they've made it this far in the goddamn episode, almost 2 hours.
Guys, you can get at us and tell us about your mental illness and how this special related to you at Now Try This Cast on all socials. You can join us on Patreon and community at patreon.com/Now Try This Cast every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/Now Try This Cast. Honestly, at NowTryThisCast.com has all of our things. You can go there, follow everything, leave us 5-star reviews on iTunes. And guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Hell yeah. I know it's a lot, guys, but honestly, following us on one social media platform or going onto the iTunes and subscribing, like following us anywhere you want is very helpful to us. We really, really appreciate it. It lets us continue doing this, and we love doing this. It's very cathartic for us. It's nice to get to talk to my friend and record it and feel like we're creating something when we're just really shooting shit.
And we just found out we're in the top 21% of podcasts in the world. So
hell
fuck
yeah.
you, everybody. Guys, we want to be 15 by the end of the year. Help us get
Hell
there.
yeah. Keep it going, baby. Keep it going. Keep it going. And on that note, guys, thank you for joining us. We love you all. Now go out there and try some things.
I
Good
almost
night.
said, is it Thursday yet? But that's Critical Role's thing. I shouldn't say that. Good night, guys.
Good night. Oh no, the mouse is gone. There you go. Bye.
Friends get together so they can try things. Young Untitled podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
I'm there and we're good to go. Woo! Party time, baby. Let's go. I am stoked. I am ready. I am excited. I am horny. So